The snow is melting, the buds are budding, the flowers are blooming. It's spring, and that means that all the green stuff that's been gone for all of winter is coming back now, and it's tender, it's delicious, and it's most affordable now. Today I've got 3 spring dishes. Think light, bright, and fresh. That's what it's all about this spring, being light on the plate and light on our wallets. So let's spring into action. Food. Life can be a struggle, but a good meal doesn't have to be. We can make creative, nutritious, and inventive dishes that won't break the bank. Welcome to Struggle Meals. It's springtime, all of the chlorophyllc green is coming back into the planet, and asparagus and peas are at their prime. They're most delicious right now, and they're cheapest. So we should cook with them right now. And what better way to celebrate the freshness of spring than with a spring vegetable risotto, or in this case, a farotto. More on that in a moment. So I'm starting off with a vegetable broth. And you've been watching this show, so you know that I save all the ends of all the vegetables that I'm cooking. And you should too, because you paid for them after all. These still have flavor, and they're perfect for something like a stock. So, throwing them in, throw water in, nice and cold on top, and let's bring this to a simmer for about 2 hours. We got asparagus, we've got some English peas here, and we've got leeks. These are gonna be great in a spring risotto. Now look, the window of opportunity for the peas is quite small, and if you buy them pre-shelled, it's gonna cost you a lot more money. So have yourself some fun, open them up, and you can take the shells and you can use these for next time's broth. Now, the asparagus. You know, when they're really young in spring, they're really thin, they're very tender, they're very delicious. There still is a stalky end though, and in general, it'll snap at the spot. This you don't wanna eat, stock bucket. We're just gonna try and get equal-sized pieces that really celebrate the vibrance of this. I once had an Italian grandma say to me, the secret to great risotto is leeks. So we're using leeks. It's in the onion family, the allium family. We can really only use the white part. All this for next time's broth. Now keep in mind these grow out of the ground this way, so they can get a little sandy. Cut it in half the long way here, and just, you know, investigate if there's sand in there or not. And actually, I do see some sand. So I'm gonna rinse these. Just pour a little water. Kind of run your fingers through them. Try to get the sand out. Okay, so we're just gonna slice up the leeks real quick. Nice and thin, want them to dissolve. We're gonna saute that in the pan. But first, we gotta strain our stock. It smells like it's ready. Here we go. We have extracted so much flavor out of our vegetables that probably would have gone into the garbage, but I didn't allow that to happen, and you don't either. This is going back into the pot to stay warm, and I have not seasoned it. I'm gonna season in the risotto towards the end. It's just gonna be better. Getting 3 packets of butter in there. Let's get a little bit of olive oil in the pan. We want a nice fat layer here. Let me just chop up this garlic real quick. There's the leeks. Here comes some garlic. A little bit of seasoning. Let's talk about risotto for a second. This is a Northern Italian classic. It's creamy and it's wonderful. Before we get started though, I'm actually using farro instead of risotto rice. Risotto rice, it really can only do one thing, make risotto. But farro, I mean, I could boil this in water and make a cold salad with it, or I can make a risotto with it. Nay, a farotto. This is how it works. Straight in, and we're gonna give it a little toast. So now we got the fat of the butter and the olive oil, and that is starting to awaken the farro, which is dry. Now we begin risottoing. We've got our warm broth, we grab, and we want to just cover the farro. We'll keep this at a simmer. The water will evaporate away, and all the nutrients we extracted from our scrap stock bucket, those are getting forced into the farros. So see how dry it is already? Once that happens, you either go straight in with stock again, or in my case, I'm gonna use a little white wine. I always do it as the second liquid. Optional step, but it is superior with a little white wine. Now, this is gonna cook for about 35 minutes. You're gonna add the liquid every 5-ish minutes. Is this cooked? Is it edible? Yes. So that means now we've got to throw in our spring vegetables so they can just come up to temperature, get vibrant and green. And so now, what I'm looking for is asparagus that have cooked all the way through but are still toothsome. Really want to celebrate the freshness of spring, and that means not overcooking them. 2 things are going to happen when this hits the plate. 1, there's still a lot of heat, so the farro is going to keep absorbing liquid. 2, we add cheese. That's also gonna drive down how much liquid is in the pan. So I'm coming in with my ladle, believe it or not, and when this hits the plate, I don't want it to be a mound. I want it to ooze out. That's the texture I'm looking for. If it becomes a mound, put it back in the pan, add a little more liquid. It should have some jiggle to it, and it moves. Yes, it is fluid. Quickly hit it with a little more cheese. Gorgeous. At this point, we could hit it with some fresh herbs. It's totally optional, but if you've got an herb garden growing, I think this is a great time to take a withdrawal. So let's hit it with some parsley, which is like one of my favorite wintertime herbs, and then we'll hit it with some basil, which is one of my favorite summertime herbs, and together they are converging on spring. Here's some basil, hand torn, and I like the big leaves of parsley. And there we have a bowl of spring farotto. Here we go. To die for. It's only $2.84 a serving, and I know it was a commitment, but this commitment was well worth it. It's delicious, it's smart, it's healthful. We've got this creamy flavor, not from adding cream, but from the cooking method of constantly adding liquid. You know, peas and asparagus are not the only game in town. Let's try some other spring vegetables. Guys, it's not rocket science. It's just shopping for produce. Here are my tips to ensure you get the best you can. You should buy in season because you're gonna get better deals and a higher quality product. These asparagus, they're perfect in the spring. Mushiness and bruises, those are your enemies. Misshapen produce, they're totally fine. Don't worry about them. These look great. Lettuce, they're trying to pack it for you in plastic containers. You know what? Costs at least $1 or $2 more. Wash it yourself. The same thing goes for other produce. Anytime you have extra time to chop up produce yourself, you're gonna save money and have something that's crisper in your dish. If you're buying lots of little things, don't bring plastic into the situation. Just bring your own bag. And if you're only grabbing a couple of something, you don't need to bring a bag into it at all. But the best way to save money is to have a plan. Make sure you use all the ingredients that you buy throughout the week. Waste, that's the biggest enemy for your wallet. Now let's take some spring vegetables and infuse their flavor into fish. I'm about to show you the most non-intimidating way to cook fish. I guarantee you won't screw it up. So what we have here is some baby bok choy. It's delicious. Cutting off the end of the bok choy, stock bucket. And now we're just gonna go for some nice bite-sized pieces. I should have picked a larger bowl. Will the bucket overflow, or will he overcome the adversity? Find out next on Cooking with Not Enough Space, only on BBC Three. Here we've got some radish, so just try to get some nice thin little pieces. I think most of the time when we see radishes, we think we've got to eat it raw, but it's not true. You can roast them. Sometimes they call this green onion, sometimes they call it spring onion. I like spring onion, especially in this dish. Let's get some lemon in there, some nice citrus. Let's get some slices of these. Why don't we hit this with some parsley also? It'll be nice. Something like that. Just crumpling it up into a ball. Running my knife through it, I would say like once. We're cooking this whole thing on a sheet tray, and the secret piece of equipment is parchment paper. Think of this like mailing a letter, okay? We're literally gonna make an envelope with all these flavors inside, and everything's gonna steam, and then we can cut into it, aromas will come out, and you're gonna look like a hero. It's brilliant. Here I've got some tilapia. Go for any fish that was caught fresh today. Just make sure it's low and flat. That way the cooking time's gonna be about the same. Hitting it with salt. We're gonna throw some butter on top of each piece. This is gonna be auto-basting the fish as it cooks. Let's also get some citrus happening here. Give some bright flavors. And the bok choy, I'm gonna try to come around the outside with it as best we can. Oh, we've got a nice little spring vegetable garden here. Some radishes, nice and thin. Here comes our spring onion, our green onion, our scallion, whatever you want to call it. And here comes the parsley. Gorgeous. We could throw this right into the oven right now and it would bake, but we'd lose all this aroma. Here's where the foolproof method comes in. It's the top layer of parchment. So get your little stapler out and line up the pieces and fold, and you can fold again. Cha-ching. Let's do this side. Mail in a letter. Sealing up an envelope. Cha-ching. And the final side, I'm coming for you, don't worry. This is truthfully one of my favorite things to build, and it comes together so quickly. Now this goes into the oven for 12 to 15 minutes. Ooh, nice and warm. You can see how the edges have started to colorize. And now this is the moment that I love so much. All I do is cut it open, and then I let everyone take their own piece. Yes. Oh, so lovely. I'm smelling bok choy, I'm smelling fish and lemon. I've got the fattiness of the butter. All these things mixing together. I'm gonna take this guy right here. I'm trying to be a little delicate. Put this right here. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Some spring vegetables. Let's get a little bit of that liquid on top. Now that pools. Oh, so nice. Yes. Oh, baby. Beautiful. $2.90 for this dish. We're cooking in season, and when you cook in season, that's when the cost is lowest and the flavor is highest. Let's dig into this. Look at how flaky and moist. Get this little piece. We get a little bok choy with it, and how about one of these roasted radishes? This way, I get all of spring in a single bite. The fish is super moist, but it's also flaky, and that's because we steamed it in this aromatic broth that was created by cooking in parchment. I love this dish. The most important thing in keeping costs down is using vegetables that are in season. That is the pièce de résistance here. If you do that, you'll get a flaky and moist fish that is without compare. And I've got another dish that's even flakier, so check it out. The time has come for a struggle challenge. What can I do with the rest of these radishes? That's a great question, and what's in your fridge will dictate that slightly. Let's see what else we've got. Red wine vinegar, creamy cheese, spinach. Oh, that's good. Arugula. We got beets. Looks like a celery root. Got a bunch of radishes. Cauliflower. Maybe a goat cheese here. All right, we're good in the cream department. Asparagus. You bought a lot of things without planning, friend. So, we want these to be the star of the dish, and I'm thinking the way to do that is probably to prepare them a few different ways. Slices for the garnishing, pan saute some pieces, and maybe we'll even quick pickle some. Now, what is the vehicle that we're gonna put this in? Maybe a cauliflower rice, maybe a little bit of cheese in there. All right, that's it. We're keeping it simple. That's what we're doing. Let's get the chubbos, save this around. We're probably gonna end up using that. I want just the actual radish roots for the time being. We're gonna do the slices. That's what we're gonna pickle. Let's just get a little bit of beet in there to dye it. Here's what I'm thinking. We'll go, get some cubes of this beet happening. All right, so hopefully that dyes it. Let's go in with a little white wine vinegar, a little red wine vinegar. Let's get a little honey in there, in the packet drawer, just give it some sweetness, and a little bit of salt. These are gonna be the most robust pieces we make. We're not gonna roast them, we're gonna saute them. So I'm thinking quartered, so they can take some heat, and they can have some nice bite to them. Let's play a little game here. Let's give it a nice edge. We'll give it another edge. We'll cut off this side. We'll cube this up nice and fresh. We're getting the cube of radish. So there are the radishes 3 ways. Gonna be pickled, gonna be sauteed in a pan, gonna stay raw. Let's make a little cauliflower rice. I think we probably only need half of this since I'm just cooking for myself. Oh, that really hurt my knuckle. Oh, man. Terrible. Box grater, and just start working this down. Stock. Let's start with this. Let's get an angle on it. Do the same thing, that and like that. All this is absolute gold for a stock. This is celery root. It's literally the root of a mature celery. It smells like celery and a potato had a baby. So we will make big cubes happening. Those will saute nicely. Let's get our pan going. And we do have this butter, so why not use it? We're gonna go with the shallot. Shallots in, celery root in, and hit with some oil of olive. Salt and pepper. Let's do the same thing with our beet. Straight down. These are going in. Getting that color of spring. Let's get these radishes in here. We gotta get some color on them. I'm thinking we gotta get some brightness. Now, we're doing that with the pickle, we're doing that with the lemon, but I think I should cheat it further and hit it with a little white wine because it's gonna make it better. I wanna use something from my fridge. Shh, don't tell. Okay, do that, make that happen, very nice. The radish is now braising through, and it's gonna cook the cauliflower. Oh, this is great. You know what? Maybe a little bit of green would be nice. Maybe it would. I'm just gonna find a couple of the radish leaves, and if we supplement their flavor with some of the spinach, I think we're gonna have something nice happening. Now this is looking like it had too much wine and all the fat has disappeared. So, we're adding more olive oil. Why don't we get some goat cheese in there too? Oh, this is gonna be an interesting one to rate, I have to say. Yeah, it looks like not great. We gotta get some white splotches here because the beets sort of created a lost among the crowd situation. Let's get some of our pickles. We have achieved the red beet dye, nice and crunchy, acidic. I like it. Got our little baby Brunoise here. Oh, great idea. Let's make a little radish green dressing with the rest of our pickling liquid and some olive oil. Does this achieve what I want? Not really, but I tried. All right, I'm digging in. Let's see how we're doing flavor-wise. Here's a sauteed radish, here's a pickled radish, and let's get a little bit of the Brunoise radish. And let's take it a bite. I think it's really tasty. Flavor-wise, it's definitely celebrating the radish. I think we dealt with it pretty good there. I'm gonna give it an 8. Where I think I went wrong was dyeing it with the beet. I had all that beautiful knife work happening in here, and it all just gets lost with the color. So visually, let's give it a 6. We got a 6 and an 8, and that comes to 14, which is a C-. And that's fine. But the most important thing here is that you learned how to deal with the radish in more ways than just putting it on top of a taco. We sauteed, we braised, we had them raw, we had them pickled, we sauteed the greens, and then we made a salad with the raw greens. So that should give you a whole bunch of ideas of what to do with the rest of the radish. Thank you for this challenge. Go forth. Be creative with the radish. Let's make an asparagus spring tart. Because it's springtime, asparagus are in season, the flavor and toothsomeness of them is at the all-time high, and their cost is lowest. So here we've got asparagus. We're gonna find the spot where it wants to break. Boom. The stalks are going into the stock bucket. Let's make a little cheesy filling we can put underneath the asparagus. Got some ricotta cheese. Let's get a little Parmesan in there. We're gonna get a little bit of nuttiness, and I'm just using my microplane here. I'm gonna make it even lighter with some lemon zest. It's so much easier for me to zest a lemon with one of these than the way I used to do it. Anyway, we've moved up in the world. Let's get the freshness of some dill in there. Stalks and all. This is gonna add a nice pop of color into our cheese. Going in. Chives, spicy young onion. Just another one of those flavors that's super fresh. And some parsley. If you have a window, you can grow herbs, and that means that you'll invest in something and you'll be getting these dividends of flavor for as long as you can keep the plant alive. I think you should plant an herb garden. There's the parsley, there's the chive. Let's mix it around. This is puff pastry. I've had it thawing on the counter. This is something you keep in the freezer. I think you should have it there at all times. It's affordable, and it's highly versatile. Just gonna flour the work surface, just lightly. Let's get a little flour on top. And now a rolling pin. I don't have one, so I'm gonna use a wine bottle. Wanna keep the square shape. That's pretty much it. Got a sheet tray here with some parchment on it. Puff pastry has a ton of butter in it, so you do not need to oil it. It's naturally quite fatty. I'm gonna fold over the edges like this. I'm like making a little picture frame. Let's get some of our filling that we made and throw that in here, spread it around. Okay, so which way should we have our asparagus go? Let's start lining them up. And how many asparagus can I fit? You know when you buy a bunch of asparagus and the recipe only calls for like half of it? This is a great way to use up the other stuff. Eat it all. Let's hit this with some egg wash so it gets beautiful, brown, and shiny in the oven. Whisk up the egg. And if you have a pastry brush, you can use it. All I have is a finger. See, I started with the Struggle Whisk 7500, and now I'm on a beta version of pastry brush. This is not available to the public just yet, still under development. Let's hit it with some olive oil. We've got the shiny outside, and the asparagus needs something too. All right, there it is, the asparagus tart. It's gonna go into the oven until it's poofy and golden. Woo! Puffed up. Let me shimmy it over here. Here we go, here we go. Hot potato, hot potato, hot potato. I'm gonna go this way. I don't even want to cut into it because it looks so pretty. Uh-oh, oh, this is very nice. Look at that. Look at how the layers of puff pastry have indeed puffed. Light and fluffy. You know, asparagus is in season for such a short window, and it's so easy to get writer's block and just throw it in the oven and cook it. This is an ingenious way to deal with asparagus in an unexpected manner. $1.93. How can you go wrong? The answer is you cannot. Spring, it's the time when the planet is coming back to life again, and it's really easy to get into a rut after the winter with recipes. But not here on Struggle Meals. We had 3 awesome vehicles for these in-season vegetables. I'm talking about the risotto method to highlight the peas and asparagus. I'm talking about steaming fish and vegetables in a parchment envelope. Mail that to your mom. She'll love it. And I'm talking about making a tart that's light and fluffy to celebrate the seasonality of asparagus. After the winter, it's really important that we have a little renaissance. Spring forward, because everything is delicious now. Welcome to Frankie's Corner, where I answer your questions. Janelle asks, my neighbor shared her basil harvest with me, and now I have a metric butt-ton of basil. Sounds like a lot. How can I preserve it? That's a great question. It's really hard to preserve basil because it's got so much water in it. However, if you want to have dried basil, you could put it on a rack, make sure there's air circulation, and dry it out. And then you can crumple it up, put it in a jar, put the date and the year of the harvest on it, and you can sprinkle it onto things. However, if you want to eat it fresh, there's nothing better than basil pesto, man. You could make a metric butt-ton of it and eat it with pasta. And if you have any left over, you could freeze the little bits in ice cube trays, and then you could just pop them out into dishes throughout the year.